Welcome back to Stall Talk. I'm Jenilee, and this is
Cassandra.
An entire women's crew is going into space. How about that?
That is so cool.
I am thrilled. And to top it off, it's Gayle King, Katy Perry, Lauren Sánchez, who's Jeff Bezos' fiance. She organized the whole thing. And then there's a journalist, a filmmaker, and an activist. These women, oh my gosh, they're going into space on an all-women's crew.
That's so exciting. I know that we actually both have like a history and a past with space with both of our families, which makes it even extra special and exciting for us.
Yeah, because my dad worked for NASA and
My grandpa was a rocket scientist.
See?
Yeah, he worked with President Kennedy in the Cuban Missile Crisis, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. If someone came to you and said, you have a ticket, we'll pay for it, would you get on that rocket and go up to space?
I don't do very well with small, tight spaces. So especially if I was like being crammed on with people that I don't know, I don't know. It's only if it was like with my dogs and like my best friends, but like I don't think I could do it.
If it was with your dogs and your best friends.
I couldn't be away from them for that long.
Oh yeah. Ooh, come on in.
Let's get down and dirty.
The totally unfiltered, honest.
Up to my brain.
I love your brain.
Stall talk.
Stall talk.
Y'all ready?
Well, it's a big deal, but you know what? Everything that I've read so far, or doing my little bit of research and hearing all about this, is all the women, pretty much the basis for them going, their thought behind it is that they really want to show that women can do it all. We can do everything that men do, right? We can be as powerful and as adventurous. And Katy Perry even said something about that. She wanted her daughter, she has a daughter named Daisy, and she wanted her to see how strong Mama is. Mama's going to go into space.
Do you know how long they're going for?
How long the trip is?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you'd say that because, again, in this interview with Katy Perry, she was talking to somebody, I don't know if it was Lauren or whatever, about the mission. And at the end of it, she said, we've spoken on the phone now for 45 minutes, and the entire space trip is going to be 12 minutes. So she said, we've spoken on the phone longer than we're going to be up there. But you can guess it's going to be 12 minutes of straight adrenaline.
Wow.
So
what an interesting group of women.
Oh my gosh, right? Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about all those people and the choices that they made?
I think it's exciting. I'm super excited to see it.
And then on top of it, we got to do a little bit of our own spacewalking.
We did. I had such a fun week with you this week. It was so much fun.
It was.
For those of you that don't know yet, we got to go on a little space adventure, a really cool space adventure this week with Jenilee and Rachel and Larry. It was such a fun time.
And the thing that I love so much about it's just opened my whole brain and my eyes, my thought pattern to one day, maybe everybody's going to be going into space. Like they might go to the moon, just like if you were going to go to Hawaii or something.
It's interesting because sometimes I think like Earth can't like last forever. So I'm curious, like, are people going to start like going off into different planets?
Oh my gosh. Well, and stay tuned because we're going to be speaking with the CEO of the Lunar Light Experience. It's going to be a blast.
Stall Talk babes, you're in for a real treat today. Today we have our guest, Danielle Dallas Roosa. She is the CEO and founder of Lunar Light Discovery. Welcome to the stall.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to see you again. We just saw her a couple days ago and it was so much fun. We had the best week together.
It was the best time.
I'm so happy you guys got to come.
Can you tell us a little bit about your story and what you do?
Yeah. So a little bit of background. My grandfather was on Apollo 14, And I interned at NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C., and I wanted to pursue a job there. And that was all lined up, but I had something in me that said, no, move out to Los Angeles, do comedy. And I did that. And I always say if my brain was more developed, I never would have moved to Los Angeles, but I was young and dumb, and I'm so happy that I did.
Yeah, it's all part of the journey, right? Wow. So how did you go from comedy then to, and explain what we even experienced with you the other day?
So when I was at NASA, I noticed that there was a fundamental lack of interest in space exploration. A lot of people were like, is NASA still in business? And I was like, it is a government agency. It is not a business, but okay. And I really wanted people to feel a part of space exploration. And so I wanted to bridge my passions of space exploration and entertainment. And at the time, immersive entertainment was kind of on the rise, and I said, I can do this. And so I created something called the Lunar Light Discovery, and it's a fully immersive, you guys both came, a fully immersive experience in which there's VR, there's immersive theater / acting, there's a robot, there's an escape room. We really combine a bunch of different experiences all into one and give people the experience of going to space.
You guys, from my personal perspective, it was so much fun. Jenilee and I did it together with Larry and Rachel, and we had an absolute blast. It was like not like the experience of like playing a video game versus like actually like fully being in it. It was so cool. So if you get a chance to go, you guys really should. I know it was quite a journey for you and a story, even being able to open up this experience, and you faced a lot of rejection to even get to where you are now.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your story and give any advice that you might have?
Yeah, so the whole company is called Back to Space. And the reason that we titled it that was because we originally, well, actually, let's go back in time even farther, okay? I graduated from UMass Amherst, and I graduated early, so I moved out to LA, and they didn't have like the graduation ceremony every semester. So at the end of the year, I flew back to UMass and did the whole walking. You know, my mom got the photo that she really wanted of me with my little diploma, with my little cap. And at the time, I was living with somebody who had this huge cat that hated me. I don't dislike cats, but this cat hated me. And I was in the airport on a layover from after doing the graduation. Mind you, they were like, everyone who's top of your class, let's talk about what you're doing with your life. And I was like, I'm working at Buca de Beppo in Santa Monica. What have I done with my life? And the guy to my left is like, I'm working at Google. And the other guy was like, yeah, I'm working at Microsoft. And I was like, Buca de Beppo.
Wow.
Okay.
This gives me so much hope. I love this because we talked about this before on past episodes.
Yeah.
We've been in the same boat. And
Yeah.
now we're all here together at Stall Talk.
Exactly.
So I love it.
I love this
full
town.
circle.
Yeah. Oh God, I got stuck. But so, okay, there I am. I'm like questioning my life choices. I'm flying back home. I'm at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. My phone rings, and my roommate is just screaming at me because there is a hair tie on the floor. The cat could have eaten it and died. And
my gosh.
I was like, what have I done with my life? So I sit down and I start crying. And I turn to the guy next to me and I start having a conversation with him. And that guy happens to be the past CEO of Blockbuster and 7-Eleven.
Wow.
And we ended up talking, and he is a huge space fan. And I was like, I really want to do something that can, you know, reignite a passion for space exploration in this generation. And he was like, well, let's make a TV show. And so we started developing that. And the reason it was called Back to Space is because we signed an agreement with Buzz Aldrin, Walt Cunningham, and Al Worden, and we were going to actually put them back into space on a commercial space capsule. Wow. Long story short, that did not work out. And I was like, by the way, I thought it was going to work out.
Typical Hollywood.
Yeah, I know. But I was like 23, and I was like, I'm going to be an astronaut.
I got it.
My show is doing really well.
Forget those people at Google and Microsoft.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, Buca de Beppo, okay? Paid off. Yeah, that didn't work out because the commercial space company did not go into commercial space. They stayed in satellites. Not important to the story, but it was no longer an option for us. So then I was like, okay, what are we going to do? So I ended up meeting this guy named Christopher Cowan, who did the Decade series on CNN. And I was like, and he's a huge space fan. And I'm like, hey, maybe we could make a show. I am a cockroach. You cannot kill me. I will keep reinventing things.
Good for you.
So then he brought on Hema Washington, who was the executive producer of The Amazing Race. And so we created a space competition show.
Wow.
And I was like, great, we're going somewhere. It's going well. We had a lot of meetings with Discovery Channel. We kept going, and it was looking really good. So again, I was like, here we go. Yeah, that fell through. And I was like, no! And so I was like, okay, what are we going to do?
Cockroach is back.
Cockroach is cockroaching. I will not die. I will slither away.
I love that about you.
My cockroach tendencies.
Yes, I love
My
that.
husband says the same thing. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, and then we decided on immersive experience because I was like, I want to control it. I don't want the industry. They actually told me, and I don't know if this is true, and I hope they don't sue me for saying this, but they told me that space is not sexy. The Discovery Channel said that to me, and I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean space is not sexy?
It's so unknown. There's
It's
so
like-
much you can do with it.
It's so sexy.
It's so sexy.
It is.
What are we doing?
Sexy astronauts.
But
Yeah, so anyhow,
it just shows you that one person that told you that. I mean, but you hear that story all the time because me at my age, going through it. But yeah, so, touche to you that and now you've developed it. How long have you been in business with this new?
so
The Lunar
we opened on leap year day of 2024. So,
Oh, wow.
And so that was February of 2024 in Dallas, Texas. And the weather was crazy and the tech wasn't working. And it was a nightmare that I could not wake up out of. But we solved it. We worked together, we fixed it, and I'm really happy because Gabriella, my co-creator of the Lunar Light Discovery, she was like, no, we got to move fast and break things. And failure to launch will not be us, okay? And I was like, okay, great. And so we built the VR. We were working pretty hard around the clock to get this all set up.
It shows.
It was so.
It was, I had a moment before we started filming and speaking with you to tell you that once I did it, it's like when I went home, all I could think of is I wanted to do it again. And I want to come back and do it again.
That was your first VR experience.
That was my first
really cool.
First VR, my first time ever going in an escape room. I mean, I learned all this. But what I also was just so intrigued by is you hear so many times about space and astronauts and all that, and you see like little kids and they're so intrigued by space and out there. I was not one of those kids. I was never really interested in space, even though my father worked for NASA.
What?
Yeah, my father worked for NASA. And
Did I not
it's
know- did you tell me
weird.
this?
Yeah, no, I probably didn't tell you that, right? But anyway, that's here nor there. But with all that, it just wasn't my thing, right? And yet now, since going to yours and doing that, I got the taste, and I thought, oh, this is like when little kids get that taste. I think I just wasn't exposed to it.
Totally.
Because getting exposed to yours, now I get like the women that are all now going into space here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I get this whole journey that it's like, wow, because your experience totally put me there.
I love that.
And it was like fantastic, girlfriend.
Well, thank you. That the whole mission statement. This is the little sound clip that I always say, but Sally Ride said, if you can see one, you can be one. And I want to take that a step farther and really put people into space. And I think what's really interesting about it, and going back to a little bit, I think we talked about this previously, but I'm dyslexic and nobody in my family is. They're all like engineers and smart.
ADHD.
Yeah.
But that's because you're special.
I had to go through a period where I had to say, okay, I do not have the skill set that other people do, and that's okay. I have other skills that I'm very good with people. I'm very creative.
And you're very good at cockroaching.
Yeah, I am such a good cockroach.
Which though, going back to that, I think that is the number one thing in life that you should go after if you're going to be successful is have the dream, but you have to just dog in, dog out, whatever, and pursue it and not give up. And that is, you could take all the ability in the world, but if you don't have that, you're not going to make it. And so when you're dealing with all those intellectuals or those people that have degrees and all that, no, it's not about, it's about perseverance.
Totally.
But having the dream that if you dream it long enough, it can come to fruition.
Remember that video of Shia LaBeouf where he was like, just do it? The older I get, I'm like, yeah.
Channeling that inner thought. Bouncing off of what Jenilee just said, you had so much rejection that you were overcoming. I feel like most people, when you get that first no, it's so easy to just be like, what am I doing? This space isn't meant for me, especially being a woman. I'm sure that you were working with a ton of men. How were you able to keep yourself as you say, cockroaching, but to keep going until you finally succeeded and broke through?
Because you're exactly right, Cass, that I think that most people would have stopped. So
that was never an option in my mind. I never considered stopping because I'm also an actor and writer. And for me, you just keep doing it. We're psychotic people. It's literally the definition of insanity.
You're right.
We all have a little touch of something.
I like to think of it that even our bigwig Larry, he always says, I'm just a drama queen. And it's because everything's dramatic. Everything's important, right? Everything means something.
Yeah.
And why don't you see it?
Yeah.
Which is that, and that is the energy that we got from going to your experience. And also all the people that you surround you, so I don't know, there was 6 of you there, but the best actors, and they were.
It was a great team.
It was just a fabulous show.
Well, I love that you also felt that because, I think it's really hard to get people bought in, but as the director of it and co-writer of it and kind of the leader of it now, the biggest thing that I want everyone bought in because this is cool. Especially during hard times, to be able to offer somebody the experience to disconnect from their reality and be like, hey, for 60 minutes, you are in space and it's the year 2055.
It was so amazing. Right after doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to bring my family here. I think it'd be so fun to come with them. It was such a cool experience.
Because also, though, I'm all about learning. It was extremely educational. So you had just a blast learning.
A blast?
A blast.
No pun intended.
Learning all about space. Oh my gosh. Yeah. See, if I had gone to that when I was a little kid, I would have been an astronaut maybe.
Yeah. Well, what's really fun is you see when people come in, because we have 8 slots per 30 minutes to an hour, there are different groups that come in, right? And at the beginning, because it's interactive, people are very there's 2 camps. There's somebody who's yeah, like you guys, you were in it. You were locked in. Yes, we're doing it. And then there are the people that are like, what am I doing here?
What is this?
But when you put them in the VR headset, it is, and they see their hands, and they can. Everyone becomes a child, and I love that because there's a separation almost, and so you see people interacting and high fiving each other. And I'm a big community gal. I'm if I don't have a sense of community, what am I doing as a human? And I love that for those 60 minutes, you become a little space community and at the end, after the escape room, when they come out, I'm like, were you guys one group? No, we just met,
Yeah. So where do you want to go even from here? Where's your next journey?
So I think we want to be everywhere. We want people to be able to franchise this experience out. We want to continue to grow the experience. We have a whole movie, a feature film that we've written. Wow. And we want to have a permanent destination as well. I think there's a lot that's really exciting in our future. And the experience that you went to is the backstory. This is when we discovered the lunar light. What is it? And that's going to power the rest of the story and be the through line throughout.
And I love that it's you 2 women, too.
Yes.
So it's a woman organization. And did you purposely always think, I want to do this with another woman, or did that just happen? Or
it just happened, but I also feel like I'm the luckiest person ever because through Jim Keys, I met Michael Gorton, who was the CEO for some time, and he was the creator of Teledoc, which I didn't know anything about because I was in college basically when I met all these people. And then he really mentored me as a CEO, and I learned a lot from him. And then he stepped down, and Gabriella became CEO. And Gabriella, I learned so much from. Like, she is just such a badass, you know. And she created her own company and sold it, and you know, she really did teach me so much. So I feel so privileged to be able to learn from all three of them. It was never the intention. I kind of just allowed life to take control of who, what, where, when, why. And with Gabriella, I think now I'm CEO. And so I feel like learning from both two men and then a woman, it's been really,
And now what does your family think? You coming to LA and your restaurant experience at the beginning?
They helped me move out here when I was living in a living room. They had they helped me pack the car, move out. They're the most supportive. And I think there's something to say about family legacy in terms of, you know, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my grandfather, but also they are my heroes too. You know, my immediate parents, because they've never ever been like, that's a crazy idea and you shouldn't do it. They're like, that's a crazy idea, let's do it.
I love how supportive they are.
Yeah.
And that support system that you have around you. I think it's so cool that you have a grandfather that did this. Did you ever feel like pressure per se to like do something like great and big with your life because of that?
I saw Barney when I was 2, and I was like, I'm going to do that. And so I've always knew that entertainment was going to be that for me. But I feel like space has always been the connector between people. Space has really, you know, especially interning at NASA and being able to spend time there and just see this different world, you know. So I don't think there was just pressure to be anything other than who I am, I guess. Which is just
because what you're doing, I think, and a synopsis of that is that you're making space fun and entertaining.
Yes.
And accessible.
So, right?
And space is intimidating. Sometimes you feel like you need 5 different degrees to even entertain a conversation. I'm like, no, let's forget about that. Let's make this fun so that everyone feels welcome. That
it's very approachable for anyone.
Yeah.
Thinking like, and it makes us believe any one of us could go to space. And what is happening again even today is, in the future, do you think we will all go to the moon and
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? What's your philosophy about that?
I think I think there's going to come a point in time where anyone can go to space, just like airplanes. You know, I think it's going to be.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I don't think it's going to be like Star Wars or Star Trek, where you know we're going hypersonic.
Or the Jetsons.
I mean, some of the Jetsons, I'm like, I want that.
Oh, and some of the Jetsons stuff is happening now, right? I mean, the Jetsons, you wouldn't know this, but the Jetsons were it was an old comedy from, I don't even know, before we
You've never heard of the Jetsons?
No, that's why I was just nodding and smiling as she picked up on it.
I knew that she wouldn't. She's 24. But no, but so many things. It was a comedy. It was an animation. But on it, they had cell phones, right? And then things like computers and all, and it was out of this world.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And so many things of that have happened.
Yeah.
And so
that's what you said to like the Jetsons. Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
So just think, Cass, we might all be going to space.
That's
for real.
So
I think it's 100% going to happen, and I think it needs to happen. I think that there's also something beautiful that happens when you go to space. I have not been, but this is what I have heard from many people, is something called the space perspective, where you see Earth from afar, and you're just like, all this stupid stuff that we argue about, what are we doing?
Oh, see? Exactly. That we're just a bunch of little ants here and living on this one Earth. And so why are we fighting? Why are we?
Yeah. We have more in common.
We have more in common.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like space is such a good something that everyone can rally behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your story. Thank you for inviting us. We were your guests.
So much fun.
It was such a pleasure to have you guys there.
Thank you.
And everybody needs to go. So again, how can people go? What's the
look up the Lunar Light Discovery and then select a ticket time and then come to the moon. Yeah.
I loved it. I had a fantastic time, and you guys will. Thank you so much for coming to the
Thank you for
Balcony.
having me.
Love you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody, go to the moon. It's right here. I love talking to her.
I do too. She's such a cool person.
Oh my gosh. But because she's, I think, a performer, plus she's like so into NASA and space, that's why her adventure, I think, is so fabulous, right?
I love how she like found a way to all of her passions to bring them together into one experience. What was that like doing VR for the first time for you?
VR, virtual reality.
Virtual reality,
yes. Is that, too, when you say that, is that when the part that you put on the glasses? I was at first yes, my very first time, never done that. I've never done a PlayStation. I've never done any of that. So I was totally aghast because I was just totally.
You were floored.
I was freaked out. So I thought, oh, am I going to be okay through this? Am I going to get sick? Am I going to pass out or something? But no, once we started doing it, it was just friggin' amazing. And the fact that she took us into space. I mean, I don't know, didn't you? I really felt like we were on the moon.
It was amazing. We were like in it, like fully in it. I've done virtual reality where it's very cool if you've never done it before, where it's just like the controls, you don't really like move around much. But we were like going through like paths and mazes and different like worlds. It was really cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And all together. I've only ever done it like once, like by myself before, not like as a group. So it was cool being able to like see each other in it. That was really fun. And then when it ended in an escape room, I personally love escape rooms. It's one of my favorite activities. So I love that it ended in an escape room.
And I told you, because I'd never been in an escape room either, but it was just the coolest that again, all of us should be more aware of space and the moon and all that, because one day everybody really might be going to the moon instead of,
or somewhere
to the grocery store. They'll go, oh no, let's take a weekend and go to the moon. You
that
don't
sounds
know.
like a very fun trip.
You don't know.
Now, one of my favorite things that I always look forward to is what did we learn for the week? I'm reversing it this week, Jenilee.
Oh my God.
What did you learn this week?
So,
I love when you ask this.
Oh, thanks. See, and Jenilee always says, what did you learn? So I learned from Danielle that if you expose yourself to even things that you're scared of, and if you go down that rabbit hole, you might find a lot of wonderful Easter eggs.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. It blew my mind that I just learned so much, but it just opened up my heart and my vision to something that I never thought of before. That's what I learned from her. What did you learn?
Like the theme is about space, I find it interesting that what you learned actually didn't have anything to do with space, and what I learned didn't either. So what I personally learned was everything, again, happens for a reason. The way she was like thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to do this TV show. I'm going to do this. And it's like when we see things in the moment, we think they're like here, but really like our dreams and our ideas are here, and we get rejected and we're just like, oh, like I'm going to give up. And instead of giving up, she went from being rejected from a dream that was like here and is now like all the way up here. And I'm like, this is why I like keep reiterating that everything happens for a reason. So thank you so much, Stall Talk Babes, for joining us this week.
It's fabulous. And cockroaches can be good things.
I agree. And for you, Stall Talk Babes, check out the promo in the description to find out how you can go to space just like us. Trending up, trending down.
What?
It's time for trending up and trending down. For this week, bye-bye Tesla. I don't know if you guys are seeing, but a lot of Tesla owners are no longer proud to be Tesla owners. There's even bumper stickers all over people's cars who got their Teslas before things got a little messy. Let's talk about it in the comments. What do you guys think about it? Would you drive a Tesla?
Thanks so much for watching.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on all our social media platforms. See you next week.